Good evening, everyone. We've now come to the interview section of my show. This is your host, DJ Lotus Rose, and today I will be interviewing Mr. Larry Sanders. Mr. Sanders is a communications teacher here at Alcorn State University. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so my first question, in your own words, what is mass communications?
Mass communications is a vessel of information. As you know, we've talked about in our introduction to mass communications class, and it can range anywhere from word of mouth to the internet, email, letters, just a friendly hand wave. You know, that's all some type of communication. So that's something that you all are prepping for, or we are attempting to prep you all for in the future.
Okay, so you are a mass communications teacher, so
Yes.
what does that mean to you?
That means that I'm teaching the next generation of students to become future mass comm people. And that means a lot to me because when you all go up and get your Pulitzer Prizes and so forth and so on and your Peabody Awards, that means that I, in a small way, help you all to get there. And that makes me feel great.
Okay, so is there any kind of purpose behind mass comm?
The purpose of mass communications is to inform the public. You know, I've never understood when most folks say, well, I'm nosy, and so no, I think you have an inquisitive mind and you're curious about things, and I think that mass communications will always be here in every aspect because people want to be informed. I mean, how are we supposed to know what's going on in China or India or Afghanistan? You know, it's because of communications and satellites and technology that we're informed on this.
Okay, so I'm sure one day you didn't just wake up and say, hey, I want to be a mass comm teacher. So what made you choose mass communications as your career choice?
Actually, it's a funny story, and I'll tell in like 30 seconds. It was chosen for me. You know, at 17, I had no clue what I wanted to do. I am a graduate of Southern University in Baton Rouge, and at 17, I think 18 years old, we were in the assembly hall. And my counselor called me and she said, well, what do you want to major in? I said, I have no idea. And she said, well, what do you like to do? And I said, well, I like to write. And she just wrote on there mass communications and sent me on my way. Now, if she had put English or veterinary science, then I may be a veterinarian right now. But I'm a mass comm major, and I don't regret it at all. So I thank Ms. Patine. If you're listening, thank you very much for that.
Okay, so how and why did you choose Alcorn?
Well, actually, Alcorn chose me because before I got here, I was working part-time, excuse me, at a school in Marshall, Texas called East Texas Baptist University. And, you know, part-time money is not nearly as good as full-time money. And there was a position available here, so I immediately took it. And I've loved Alcorn ever since.
Okay, so in general, how long have you been teaching, and then how long have you been teaching at Alcorn?
In all, I think it's been like 16 years, so since 97, and I've been at Alcorn for 8 years now.
Okay, as a mass communications instructor, what is your favorite and least favorite thing to do?
My favorite thing are the classes. I love Introduction to Mass Comm. I love the oral communications classes, the research methods classes, you know, just being around the students, you know, that gives me life and vigor. My least favorite thing is like the meetings and all of this, you know, that's just something I've never liked. But I know it's a part of the system and whatnot, and I do attend them, but that's just one of the least favorite things I have to do.
Okay, so what would be your easiest and your hardest job then?
My easiest part of the job, you know, again, as I said, just being around the kids, you know, they give me energy, they give me life. The hardest part, probably grading all of the papers because I give out a lot of work and I have to grade everything, so that's probably the hardest part of my job, but I don't mind doing it because, hey, I'm the one to give out the work, so someone has to grade it.
Okay, and how long do you plan on staying at Alcorn?
As long as Alcorn have me.
Okay, so in the next 5, 10, 15 years, where do you, or what are your expectations of the mass communications department to be around that time?
I'd like to see our department grow. I would love to see it with 100, 200 students in it. I would love to see us with our very own building, you know, smart labs, smart technology in every office, in every classroom. You know, I would love for us to have a graduate program where you can get a master's degree in mass communications from Alcorn. I would love to start that program up and actually continue it. And those are just short-term goals. You know, that long-term stuff, I think it'll kind of fill in itself over time, but those are my short-term goals.
Okay, and being that you've been here for 16 years, you've seen a lot of students come and go and graduate and come to grad school. So is there any kind of advice that you would give your students now until what they can do to become a professional mass comm?
Well, I would tell them not to wait until their junior, senior year to try to do an internship. You know, I would tell them, you know, every summer, if you're not coming to summer school, then make certain that you go to your local public relations firm or television station or newspaper or online facility or something like that, and see if you can shadow those people. You don't have to get paid for it. I mean, this is experience, and experience is invaluable. And I would tell them to do that because it's very competitive, especially in our field. And, you know, once you get your foot in the door, you know, you kind of keep it there.
Have any of your students come back and say, well, thanks, Mr. Sanders, I've come and I've learned everything I can do. I'm very successful, and I just want to thank you for actually helping me move along in life.
I've had a few to do that, and it really means something to me. I'm very appreciative of it because it shows that I've done something to improve upon someone's life in a positive manner. You know, well, back in the day at Wiley, I used to have my students in the mass media writing class read the USA Today. Now, currently, I have my mass media writing students actually looking at online on USA Today, but back then we had to actually buy the paper. And I actually had a student to come on, he's like in his 30s now, and he said, Ms. Sanders, thanks to you, I still read the USA Today. You know, and he's been out of school for maybe 10 years now, so, you know, I like that.
Okay, well, I'd like to thank you for blessing us with your presence this evening.
Thank you very much for having me, madam.
Okay, and now we will return to our regularly scheduled programming. Up next, we will have Too Close by Alex Clare, followed by 1-2 Step by Sierra.